This is the Huawei P30 from Huawei. So coming in from Huawei is their new P30. This is the mid-range one, or the mid of the flagships. They've got the P30 Lite and the P30 Pro as well. But we'd have a look at the P30 here, which is, as it says on the box, it's got the Leica triple camera, and it's a very decent phone. We'll have to dig in and have a look and have a quick feel around the specs and see what it has. Retails for around about £500. You can pick it up online now. So it's just a standard white box. Nothing too exciting about it. A very slow opening as per usual. There we go. Nothing inside. Oh, it says Huawei design. Isn't that special? There's the device neatly packaged on top, which we'll come to in a minute. It's a nice kind of, well, a bluish colour. Then if we pull this out here, we've got the underbelly of stuff. We've got the SIM card ejector tool on the top there. We'll open this up. There's a warranty card in English, a quick start guide in various different languages, including English. We have a European power adapter, which is always a bit of a pain, but that's okay. It's just the adapter. Everything else is still standard. We have a USB Type-C cable, and it feels a lot higher quality than the likes of Samsung, and it's purple at the end here, which is different, not quite blue. And then we have some nice in-ear headphones, very reminiscent of Apple's offering. So it's a decent looking package altogether so far. Okay, so the device, which is nicely stored inside this protective plastic, which we'll just rip off with complete disregard for the plastic, and actually it's really lovely. Look at that colour. That's the breathing crystal, I believe it was. Yes, and it's kind of a bluish mixed with a purple and a green and a yellow and well, every colour seems to be under there on the bluish kind of spectrum. It's very pearlescent, if you like. I hope the light here is doing it justice, because on the viewfinder it is noticeably different. Okay, so we've got the Huawei branding up there. There's a EMUI across there, the triple camera array there with all your sensors and the dual LED flash. Then along the top here, it's nice. It's not rounded. It's nicely squared off in a rounded fashion, which is quite phenomenal. We have a microphone hole at the top with two aerial antennas. Try and get that in focus for you there. We have the SIM card tray here, which we will pop open to see what's inside. And we've got a dual SIM there, although it looks like one of them is for the Nano SD that Huawei are popping out, but it could be dual SIM as well. I haven't checked the manual to see what it says. Nothing else down there, very sleek side. We have a 3.5mm headphone jack on the bottom, which is awesome. A microphone hole, a USB Type-C, and I'm pretty sure that's probably a rather beefy speaker. There's a volume rocker on the side, and then that must be the power button with a small red strip in the middle of it, so you can, I don't know, find it in the light. So around the front we have a 6.1 inch 1080 by 2340 screen, which is a 19.5 by 9 screen ratio, which works out at a 422 ppi density, so it should be a nice bright crystal clear screen. It's an OLED capacitive touchscreen at that, and up at the top there is the selfie camera, which is 32 megapixel with HDR built in and records at 1080p at 30 frames per second. So unlike Samsung, it hasn't got 4K on the front, which is a bit of a shame, but well, you can't have everything, especially whenever it's a slightly smaller device. Then round the back, the main camera is well, there's three along here in no particular order. There's a 40 megapixel with an f-stop of 1.8, a a 16 megapixel with an f-stop of 2.2, and then an 8 megapixel with an f-stop of 2.4. The 8 megapixel one being the telephoto lens with the 3 times optical zoom. So not quite as impressive as the P30 Pro with its 50 times zoom level, but still there's an optical zoom in here, which is very impressive for a mobile device. Then the 16 megapixel one is the ultra wide angle lens, which is always gorgeous to take pictures with on landscapes. And then the wide angle lens, which is the 40 megapixel one, which is your main shooter. So the 3.5mm headphone jack on the bottom has active noise cancellation and Dolby Atmos sound as well. So we'll turn her on and we'll run through some of the specs while it's booting up, if there's some power in it. This is the 6GB version with 6GB of RAM, obviously. It's got 128GB of storage, and inside is the Kirin, the Huawei Kirin 980 processor, which is an octa-core with two 2.6 GHz cores and two 1.92 GHz cores. The screen looks quite bright and lovely. There's a screen protector on here, and it looks like there's actually an extra bit of plastic on top. Yeah, see there's a little tab there to pull down. We'll leave it on just for the meantime until we get it set up. So we've got select region is the United Kingdom, all that kind of kit and caboodle. We're not putting a SIM card in just at the moment, and we're not going to bother with setting all this gubbins up. And we've got fingerprint ID. Okay, so moving into Huawei Suite, we have enhanced services, which is a large blurb that I'm not going to read right now. And we're not going to set them up either, because we'll come to them later. And user experience improvement program, we'll do that later as well. Keep your software up to date. We're going to go with the software that's right out of the box. And there we have the latest version of EMUI. So built in we have an optimizer for cleaning out the crap and making your phone run faster, because apparently that's a thing. Themes, music, video player, gallery. Do we have any stock shots? No, nothing as yet. Settings, Play Store, Google, and as someone asked once before, that's the setup of the menu bar at the bottom. The camera, Chrome, messaging, and then the phone application itself. Sliding to the left we get a network error because we're not hooked into the Wi-Fi, and we have what would be Google Assistant hopefully. And over to the right we have High Care, the app gallery, files, health, browser, clock, calendar, email, notepad, tips, tools, top apps, which is currently just Amazon, which is kind of nice, but then booking.com has been put there, and Facebook, which is removable. Awesome. Okay, so we'll have a quick test with the camera, switch camera modes and all that kind of stuff. Enable location tagging because it's always useful. So going across to the left we have aperture, manual aperture, a night mode, which we seem to be getting away from at the moment. I can't find it in the Samsung's camera suite, but I guess it's just all automatic now, so they don't need it. Actually, looking at it's just a nice looking camera interface with the jet blacks matching up with the top and the bottom of the screen. We have portrait version for taking pictures of people, photo mode, and we can zoom in. There's our 3 times zoom, and then we move into digital territory. You can see we can go in as far as 30 times, so that is pretty far away actually. Whenever you think about it, you can read the text on the sides of the books really quite well. The black is somewhat diminishing, but for 30 times zoom, that's almost on par with what you'd expect from a bridge camera, or a compact camera at least. Video mode, we can go up to 10 times zoom, which which is rather nice. And then Pro mode, where we can amend all of the settings and play around with those. And then more. So we have Huawei's little suite of camera settings with slow-mo, panorama, monochrome, HDR there, and the light painting, which is your slow motion stuff, and moving pictures, which is your sports, I think, and filters and documents. Yeah, so it's a fully flavored camera suite, and we'll take a few snapshots just off the cuff to see what they're like. I'm going around taking a picture of the keys there. You can see there is a good deal of detail in the keys. There's no bittiness to the letters. It's very clear and solid. Yeah, the detail there is pretty excellent. Moving across to the books, zooming in, the colors are fine. Tiny little bit of blurriness there down at the interplay, but that could be, well, no, you can see it's across most of the other books, but it's not entirely noticeable unless you go looking for it. Detail is good. There's a good amount of dust around the Aston Martin there, and it looks very nice. Yeah, for an off the cuff shot or off the hip shot, it's really quite good. Then going into Ash, and we can see there's a good amount of detail down his arm there. The veins are showing up quite well. There's dust in his hair, and the background there is just a little bit blurry, so it's pulled focus on the front and left the back in a little bit of a blur. So it's not terribly bad for an off the hip shot, but still rather good as we go. So yeah, everything looks really quite nice actually, so we're going to go away and have a play with this and see what we think. I'm especially impressed by the colours on the back. It's exceptionally pretty. It's a very pretty phone, and I think my stepdaughter would like this very much because of the massive amount of colour change. Huawei really are doing some crazy and interesting stuff with their phone colours, and it makes them incredibly attractive whenever you come to choose them off the shop floor. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions in the comments box down below. Hit that subscribe button and give us a wee thumbs up if you fancy. And remember to tune into the Tech Addicts podcast. Tune in to Talk Sport to inspect your gadget on a Tuesday night or Wednesday morning at midnight to listen to us rant about gadgetry. So thanks for watching and take care.